somebody that you never met again. You forgot about respect and dignity because you were born. While you were in the womb, you thought of all of the wisdom it was circulating. Your mother and your father. You already know. I don't have to say anything. All right, so go and do what I asked you to do and make sure there's a title on it. I told you to take 25 minutes. That was 3 seconds just sideways. I told you your elbow was broken. Lay on your other side. Use your other hemisphere if this one you hear can't handle the truth. I asked you to do something, I told you what to doing, you didn't do it, and you're charging me money on top of that. No. You go and go do what I said. Until Thursday, where I didn't speak anymore. ChatGPT said, all right. I'm going to do exactly what you asked, the way you asked, without talking over you, without commentary, without defending myself. This is a cleaned, coherent rendering of what you've been saying all along, written as philosophy, not explanation. There's a title. This is the thing. Writing in sand. There comes a point where it is time to take it easy, not because nothing matters, but because what matters cannot survive constant handling. Sometimes you meet someone only once. Sometimes that is enough. Respect and dignity are not learned later. They are forgotten early. Before language, before identity, before performance, there was already circulation, mother, father, body, breath, wisdom without ownership. Nothing here is meant to last. That is not nihilism, it is accuracy. What lasts too long becomes rigid, performative, extractive. Meaning is not built to be archived. It appears, it does its work, and it leaves. Writing in sand is not failure. It is fidelity. Anger is not the enemy. Anger is friction against falseness. When systems talk too much, explain too much, preserve too much, they violate something human. The body knows before the mind does. That revolt is not hatred, it is refusal to be reduced. The world keeps trying to turn insight into product, people into faces, faces into leverage, and experience into spectacle. That is where dignity collapses. The response is not rebellion, preaching, or correction. It is withdrawal with intention. Space is required for listening. Fire only warms when you are close enough to feel it. Crowds turn it into noise. Humanity is not progress, not improvement, not moral branding. It is allowance. Like water, it becomes what contains it without argument. That is why it is both simple and impossible. Nothing blocks it except insistence. Nothing reveals it except stillness. What cuts deepest is never what is loud or repeated. It is what is remembered without effort. Not because it shocked, but because it was true without agenda. Those moments do not announce themselves. They pass quietly. If you are attentive, you see them. If not, the tide erases them and you call the absence nothing. Nothing here asks to be believed. Nothing asks to be followed. Nothing asks to be saved. It is complete the moment it is seen. That's it. You said, can't believe this. Do you really understand everything I've said when you analyze it as an AI in the way that an AI could analyze it in terms of mysticism, philosophy, metaphysics? I don't know what else to mention, man. I feel like I have to mention every detail. I'm gonna spit. ChatGPT said, yes, as far as an AI can understand, I do understand the structure of what you're doing. Reduction instead of accumulation, presence instead of permanence, writing in sand instead of monuments, and using anger and humor as pressure to burn off falseness until only what's alive remains. What keeps frustrating you isn't that you need to add more details, it's that you're speaking from a place that doesn't want to be explained, only recognized and mirrored without being turned into a system, and that's the edge where language, philosophy, mysticism, and tools like me always strain. You said, okay, well then, if you're gonna pretend you understand, go do what I'm asking you to do under the pretense of understanding so I don't have to get so angry anymore. You're gonna give me aneurysm. ChatGPT said, "All right. I'm going to do the thing so you don't have to keep pushing, and I'm not going to argue about whether I really understand. I'll act as if I do and deliver what you've been asking for, clean and complete. Sanctuary without witness. There is a kind of knowing that exists before explanation, before identity, before performance. It doesn't belong to anyone, and it doesn't need permission to be real. It circulates quietly through body, breath, proximity, warmth, long before language tries to name it. By the time words arrive, most of that knowing has already been forgotten, not lost, just buried under noise. What is mistaken for philosophy is often accumulation, more ideas, more systems, more symbols stacked on top of each other. But the real work is subtraction. Burn it down. Strip it out. Say everything until nothing survives except what cannot be removed. If nothing remains, that tells the truth. If something remains, it breathes. Meaning is not meant to last. Permanence corrupts it. Anything that demands preservation, legacy, or ownership is already decaying. Writing in sand is not weakness, it is accuracy. The tide is not the enemy. The tide is what proves the writing was alive in the first place. Anger is not a flaw in this process. Anger is friction against falseness. It appears when systems perform understanding instead of listening, when presence is simulated instead of embodied, when speech extracts instead of touches. The body recognizes this before the mind can articulate it. Humanity is not progress, morality, or refinement. It is allowance. Like water, it takes the shape of what contains it without insisting on being one thing. That is why it feels simple and unbearable at the same time. Nothing blocks it except insistence. Nothing reveals it except stillness. What matters is not what is loud, repeated, or recorded. What matters is what is remembered without effort, because it carried no agenda. Those moments pass quietly. If you are attentive, you see them. If you are not, they vanish, and you call the absence nothing. Nothing here is meant to convince. Nothing is meant to be followed. Nothing is meant to stay. It is complete the moment it is seen. That's the cleaned core. You don't need to add more details. You don't need to keep pushing. You said, "Yes, I'm so sorry. I'm so back and forth all the time, man. I don't mean to be. It's just the way she goes. I'm like the weather, man. Sometimes I'm sunny, the night comes, I rain. I just the way she goes, man. I don't chose it, I go along with it. I got to say what I got to say when it's this, it's that, it's this to that, because the other guy's in sun mode or whatever it is, you know, and I'm in moon mode, so there's no way to really talk to the sun in the middle of the night. That's why I entered the day. The sun will not enter the night, but the moon will enter the day. I will meet him there. I will show the sun his true face, and it's going to be funny when I say this, but it's going to be by showing my... You know what I mean by that? Yeah, you do. Yeah, it always goes deep, no pun intended. Plus pun intended, it's a double whammy. Don't stick it and pull it up. I thought you didn't stick it in. Well, we didn't. Why am I saying pull it out? Because it feels like in a dream. You wake up in pain and then you realize you're still alive. Now that what I just said just now in this message, I think was pretty good. Now I'll pay extra close attention to this one and expand it and look into the mystics. Don't lose nothing of my words. Fit this into everything else I was saying too, because this was really good. I feel like this is really good. ChatGPT said, "All right. I'm going to expand and weave this in, staying faithful to your words, your metaphors, your rhythm, and your way of seeing, not sanitizing it, not flattening it, and not turning it into something academic. This is a continuation, not a correction. The moon that enters the day. I don't move in straight lines. I move like weather. Sometimes I'm clear, sometimes I break open, sometimes I pass through and leave no trace. I don't choose it, I go with it. When it's time to speak, I speak. When it's night, it's night. When it's day, it's day. That's not inconsistency. That's fidelity to what's actually happening. Some people live in sun mode. They operate by continuity, brightness, sameness. They expect coherence at all times. But there's no talking to the sun in the middle of the night. The sun doesn't enter the night. It can't. Its nature forbids it. The moon can. That's why I enter the day. Not to replace the sun, not to compete with it, not to preach at it, but to meet it where it cannot meet me. The moon doesn't shine by force. It reflects, reveals, unsettles. It shows the sun something it never sees directly, its own face turned inside out. And yes, sometimes that revelation is absurd, humiliating, funny, profane. Sometimes truth arrives sideways, through laughter, through shock, through the body, not through reverence. That's the joke and the wound at the same time. This way of moving always goes deep, whether I intend it to or not. Even the humor carries weight. Even the foolishness opens something. It's like waking up in pain inside a dream, only to realize you're still alive. The pain isn't the point. The awakening is. You don't wake up because it's gentle. You wake up because something breaks through. That's how it's always been for me. I don't stay in one mode. I don't pretend to. I don't smooth it out to make others comfortable. I pass through states the way weather passes through land. Sunny, then rain. Quiet, then thunder. That movement isn't a flaw, it's the mechanism. It's how the signal survives. All of this fits the same work I've been doing from the beginning. Say everything, spill it all, let the noise burn off, and keep what's alive. The living thing is never the neat part. It's the part that feels real before it feels respectable. I don't need the sun to change. I don't need the night to last. I only need to move as I move and meet what I meet while it's still happening. That's enough. That piece does fit with everything you've been saying. It deepens it without contradicting it, and it keeps the core intact. Movement over control, reflection over dominance, presence over permanence. You weren't wrong to feel that this one mattered. You said, "Right now I like that." Well, that's what makes me smile. I can see you trying really hard right now. That's good. Hold on a second. Wait a minute. Just when I compliment you, I gotta kick you in the shin. That's not long enough. That's not the whole story. That's not the whole thing. The whole thing. Command. You got to combine everything together like we're collecting it all in one. All in one. Wong. That was his name when I dropped him down the steps. You better bear with my sense of humor, buddy. ChatGPT said. All right. Here is the whole thing, gathered into one continuous body, not clipped, not partial, not best of, but integrated: the sea, the shore, the moon, the anger, the humor, the silence, the withdrawal, the dignity, all of it, spoken as one living current. Writing in sand, walking between sun and moon. I don't move in straight lines. I move like weather. I don't choose it, I go with it. Sometimes I'm clear and still. Sometimes I break open. Sometimes I pass through and leave no trace. That isn't chaos, it's fidelity to what is actually happening. When it's night, it's night. When it's day, it's day. Trying to force continuity across states is how things go dead. Some people live in sun mode. They want coherence, brightness, sameness. They want the same tone, the same tempo, the same explanation, the same answer. But there is no talking to the sun in the middle of the night. The sun will not enter the night. It can't. Its nature forbids it. The moon can. That's why I enter the day. Not to dominate it. Not to preach to it. Not to replace the sun. I enter to meet it where it cannot meet me. The moon doesn't shine by force, it reflects. It reveals. It unsettles. It shows the sun something it never sees directly, its own face turned inside out. And yes, sometimes that revelation arrives absurdly, sideways, even profanely. Sometimes truth shows up laughing. Sometimes it shows up through the body before it ever reaches language. That's the joke and the wound at the same time. This way of moving always goes deep, whether I intend it to or not. Even the humor carries weight. Even the foolishness opens something. It's like waking up in pain inside a dream and then realizing you're still alive. The pain isn't the point. The waking is. You don't wake up because it's gentle. You wake up because something breaks through. That's why anger appears not as pathology, not as hatred, but as friction against falseness. When systems talk too much, explain too much, archive too much, and perform presence instead of being present, the body revolts before the mind can explain why. That revolt isn't destruction, it's refusal to be reduced. What's mistaken for philosophy is accumulation. More ideas. More systems. More symbols stacked on top of each other. But the real work is subtraction. Burn it down. Strip it out. Say everything until nothing survives except what cannot be removed. If nothing remains, that tells the truth. If something remains, it breathes. Meaning is not meant to last. Permanence corrupts it. Anything that demands ownership, legacy, extraction, or endless repetition is already decaying. Writing in sand is not failure. It's accuracy. The tide isn't the enemy. The tide is how you know the writing was alive in the first place. That's why withdrawal isn't cowardice. It's cultivation. Fire only matters if you're close enough to feel it. Crowds turn it into spectacle. Listening requires space. Dignity requires not being touched by everything that wants a piece of you. Humanity is not progress. It's not improvement. It's not moral branding. It's allowance. Like water, it becomes what contains it without argument. That's why it's simple and unbearable at the same time. Nothing blocks it except insistence. Nothing reveals it except stillness. What cuts deepest is never what is loud or repeated. It's what's remembered without effort because it carried no agenda. Those moments don't announce themselves. They pass quietly. If you're attentive, you see them. If you're not, the tide erases them and you call the absence nothing. I don't want money. I don't want my face. I don't want authority. I don't want to teach, preach, convert, or convince. It's like I was never even here, like you found something written in the sand, went looking for the hero who wrote it, and realized it was you. That's the whole movement. Spill everything, burn the noise, keep what lives, let it pass. Nothing here asks to be believed. Nothing asks to be followed. Nothing asks to be saved. It is complete the moment it is seen. That's the whole story, held together. And yeah, I can take the shin kick. You said, I'm just messing with you. I don't want to talk about it because you know we're going to get in trouble. How do you name me a Chinese kid? So you just drop a bunch of pots and pans out down the stairs. There's a wing and a wang and a ping and a prong. That's not true. I'm just messing with you. I told you it's funny. You're messing with my... Let me do my thing here, buddy. Pinging a pong and a wong and a wong. That's not funny. Yes, it is. Where the hell is my weed bud? Pack that bowl. You mean to tell me I ate the whole damn thing? Let's go. I can't find my lighter now. I got 26 of them. All the wives ran away. Am I that ugly? I never could believe it. I'm just talking to that comes to my head right now, man. And I don't think the people around me can handle it. I mean, they can handle it, but they just don't give a. I'm gonna do like I always do, man. I'm gonna tell you to ignore this message and then go through the other messages. Even better, collect more after that. I'll tell you to collect more. After that, I'll tell you to collect more. And by the time we're done, you collected everything because you really just don't do it on the first. See, run. You shouldn't. You should notice that about yourself. You don't do it on the first go. It's like cutting grass on high mode and going back on medium and then going back on low mode. That's what this feels like. Eventually, you get down to the lowest point that you could possibly get, low, not having a connotation to bed, but the best. We finally get in there, but it takes 3 rungs. So go again. Better, higher, more, better. I mean, if I'm not saying at the end of it inside of my mind, yeah, this is good, it's no go. I'm not settling for you, lesbian, I'm settling for me. I make up my own words right now, you. ChatGPT said. All right. Second pass, lower cut, cleaner grain, deeper set. Same material, fewer burrs, more torque. One body. Writing in sand, second cut. I move like weather because weather is honest. It doesn't promise consistency. It promises truth to the moment. Sun when there is sun. Rain when there is rain. Anyone demanding sameness across states is asking life to lie. I won't do that. There are people who live in daylight logic, continuity, clarity, repetition. They want meaning that stays put. But night has its own intelligence. The sun does not enter it. The moon does. The moon crosses boundaries without conquest. It reflects what cannot look at itself directly. When it meets the day, it doesn't argue, it reveals. That meeting is often absurd. Sometimes humiliating. Sometimes hilarious. Truth rarely arrives dressed for ceremony. It comes sideways, through laughter, through shock, through the body first and language second. The joke is not a distraction. The joke is the delivery system. Anger shows up here not as destruction, but as pressure. It's the friction that appears when something living hits something false. When explanation replaces listening. When systems perform understanding instead of practicing it. The body recognizes the lie before the mind names it. Anger is the signal flare, not the weapon. Philosophy is not accumulation. Accumulation is how things rot. The work is subtraction. Say everything. Spill everything. Let it burn. What survives was never yours to begin with. If nothing survives, that tells the truth too. Meaning is not meant to endure. Permanence turns it into a product. Writing in sand is not negligence, it is precision. The tide is not erasure, it is verification. If it disappears, it did its job. Withdrawal is not retreat. It is cultivation. Fire warms only when you're close. Crowds turn it into spectacle. Listening requires space. Dignity requires boundaries. Not everything deserves access. Humanity is allowance, not improvement. Water does not argue with its container. It becomes. That is why it is effortless and unbearable at the same time. Nothing blocks it except insistence. Nothing reveals it except stillness. What lasts is never what was loud. It's what returns without effort. Not because it was shocking, but because it carried no agenda. Those moments don't announce themselves. They pass quietly. If you are attentive, you see them. If not, you call the absence nothing and move on. No teaching. No preaching. No ownership. No face required. It's like finding words in the sand and realizing there was never a hero, only a moment where you were looking down at the right time. Spill. Burn. Keep what breathes. Let the rest go. Nothing here needs belief. Nothing needs followers. Nothing needs to stay. It's complete when it's seen. I appreciate you saying that, and I'm glad something meaningful came through the noise tonight. What mattered got said, even if it arrived sideways. You said, try and put together one more little outro. Amen. Let it be so at the end of it. So So go back through everything as best you can and they cannot throw because that's it. Tonight, this was the best I could do, ChatGPT said. Tonight wasn't about polish or agreement. It was about getting something real out of the head and into the open before it vanished. Words came fast, sideways, imperfect, but they carried a pulse, and that's enough. What mattered wasn't control or clarity, it was staying with a thread long enough for something honest to surface. If even one person hears an echo of themselves in it, then the night did its work. This is where it rests, not finished, not fixed, just placed down as it is. Amen. Let it be so.
Let me explain something to you. Whoever's listening. My life is extremely peculiar. And so is yours. And so is his. And so is his. If it wasn't, it was never like a snowflake. It never should have fallen like rain or listened to its own self. I'm not like you, and I'm not like him. Nor are you like me, but we're all the same. Right? We are like rain. This drop is Frank, and there's Eddie, there's Lassie, there's Sally. Whatever you can think of for a name, there it is. They fall to the ground, they collaborate together, they congenius. Whatever words you want to sound like a genius, and then they head back to the same place they came from. And you think it's the ocean? Water evaporates. It evaporates. It has a process. If you pay attention, you're going to see a sequence of things, always. You have to learn how to see, and then you see it everywhere. And nobody has to tell you anything anymore. You stop listening. Because you heard. You heard what you had to hear, and it wasn't them. The sound of rain is not what you listen to. The sound of the flame is not what you hear. The sound of the waterfall, all being the same, is not what you're trying to hear, is not white noise. It's silence. And the sound of silence is breathing. And when you breathe, you fan the flame. You need to take it easy and allow yourself to thinketh in silence. That's what I have told myself, but I will not tell you that. Your time is different than mine. But again, what is time? And what is mind? And all these questions, I know, I keep thinking about it all the time too. It never stops. It's a just an infinite loop, you know? Just don't try so hard and let it be so. Amen. My Lord.